All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Um, Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Yana, and I am from International Rescue Committee. I support Career Pathways program. Also from our team today, we have Jason German, who is our workforce partnership specialist. And we also have a wonderful former client, Shiba Shafag, who will be joining us today and hopefully share her story. Um, so International Rescue Committee, just to give you a brief overview, if you haven't heard of us, we are a global refugee resettlement agency, and we have departments and services pretty much anywhere from immigration support all the way to career services, as well as financial education. So if at the end of this talk presentation you have any questions for us, please let me know. We'll have some time to discuss and talk a little bit more about general questions or any specific questions that you might have. So today's presentation will be devoted specifically to healthcare, and we will do general industry overview just to kind of get to show you what's happening in Sacramento in the healthcare industry. We'll talk a little bit more about the program that we offer and services that we support, and as I mentioned, we'll have some time for questions and answers at the end. So what is it that we do in Career Pathways program? Career Pathways is a program that supports clients' journey from entry-level positions usually to a more advanced position in a certain identified field. We always like to say that we love having our clients move beyond surviving to thriving. I want to head it over to Jason to give you a general healthcare industry overview and just talk a little bit more about specific sectors that we actually support. Jason, right to you.
Thank you, Yana. Good to be with everyone, and thanks so much for having us. I wanted to get into some healthcare industry overview with just a few different numbers, specifically pertaining to the Sacramento region. And so, as you can see presented here, the healthcare industry has great potential in the upcoming years. You'll notice that it has a 12% projected growth rate within the region of Sacramento. There are a variety of different expansion projects going on throughout the region, spanning and totaling an amount of 18 million. So with that, there'll be continuing jobs and creation of new ones in the future. And forecasting the additional jobs that will be added to the healthcare field is looking at about almost 14,000 jobs by 2024, which is wonderful to hear. And for all students listening or hearing the recording, this is a great potential and a good career field to be in. And finally, as far as current opportunities and potential, there are about 27,000 annual jobs posted in the healthcare field. And so as you complete your training, complete your education and college work, there are many potentials and jobs that you can apply for even throughout your education. Now, I also wanted to get into a little bit more of the specific employers and salary here in the Sacramento region, those employers that are hiring. You'll see the list here, many that you'll notice, including Kaiser, UC Davis, Sutter Medical, and many others. Shiba herself, she actually works as well for Ellicott Health Center, so another one. There are a wide variety of many different employer opportunities throughout the city. Now, as far as different opportunities go within the medical field, as Yana mentioned, there are a variety of different career pathways that we'll get into a little more, but depending on your interest and your skills, you really can get into a variety of different pathways depending on your interests. And so just a few to name are one, the medical assistant position, where the salary here in the area ranges from anywhere from 20 to 27, dental assisting, 20 to 25 per hour, pharmacy technician, another great area and pathway, including and ranging anywhere from 16 to 22, and finally a nursing certified nursing assistant anywhere from 15 to 18. And so those are just to name a few of the pathways that you can enter into in the medical career field. And then on the final on the right is the some skills, most desired skills from employers, what they're looking for in a candidate, in a employee. And so those include patient care, scheduling, medical coding, customer service, as well as acute care, to name just a few. Thank you. So next, we wanted to, this is, as I was talking about those potential career pathways, this is one that could be something that you very similarly follow. Now, that being said, not all career pathways are the same and look the same. Everyone's looks different, and if yours doesn't look like this, it's not saying that it's not right. We all have different career goals and aspirations, and that's important to remember and to pursue what interests you most and what you have passion for. But we wanted to present this to show you a clear guidance on a potential pathway that you could follow to kind of take those steps to reach that end goal. And so you'll see here that these different steps take different requirements, different inputs to advance to the next step. So for instance, one may start out as a home health aide, where the requirements are very entry level, and you can start off by obtaining your HAA certificate, and then continue on that pathway to then taking the training for CNA, advancing throughout, and then even continue your education to become a licensed vocational nurse, after which one may become a registered nurse by going and obtaining their bachelor's degree, taking an RN program, and continuing as well with taking the NCLEX. Finally, one may be able to then pursue the nurse practitioner position, whereafter a master's degree is held, and also additional testing and examination. You'll notice as well some different stats with each of these, and how as you advance along your pathway, your opportunities and salary range does increase as does the opportunities do. And so we wanted to share this as one. Yana will also now share another potential pathway.
Thank you so much, Jason. So the next pathways that we also offer, and as Jason mentioned, it doesn't necessarily need to look exactly like this, but we know that a lot of former doctors from Afghanistan and Iraq do really prefer this pathway. It starts with a clinical medical assistant program, and the program is usually it's somewhere between 6 months to 2 years. It really depends on which provider we suggest, depending on your experience and expertise. But the starting point could be medical assistant. And then once that client is employed, working for a variety of different companies that Jason covered today, we can suggest possibly the route to physician assistant to become a student. Once that program is completed and the client is a physician assistant, which is also a really competitive program to get into. If Shiba would like to touch base on that a little bit today, that'd be great. Physician assistant usually, and then medical doctor could be something that you finish your journey with. Now, again, it doesn't necessarily mean that every client move exactly through those steps. You might stay at the very first step for several years and enjoy your working environment, enjoy stability that particular job brings, enjoy your patient hours and so forth. And then once you are ready, we might be able to suggest some other programs or next step for you. So these are our main main pathways that we offer. Los Rios Community College does offer a variety of different healthcare related programs, including vocational nursing, licensed vocational nursing. There is also a associate degree in registered nursing. So there are so many opportunities that we can talk about if you are interested. But also wanted to mention that we do offer pharmacy technician as well, and dental assistant. This is something that we are diving into as well if you're interested. So just wanted to also talk a little bit more about what particular services does every client get from Career Pathways program. Once you are enrolled into our program, we make sure that we sit down together and we go through goal setting and career mapping, where we really dive into your experience, your knowledge, your skills, how many years you worked in particular field. As I mentioned, we do support a lot of former combat nurses, a lot of former medical doctors from a variety of different countries. So we sit down together and we talk about your short-term goals, your intermediate goals, and your long-term goals. We talk about your dreams, we talk about your vision, and we identify those particular steps that are always time-bound. We want to make sure that we have clear expectations and steps on how you will be moving through the program. I will talk a little bit more about professional skills in a few minutes, but I do want to focus on technical training. Every client that comes through our program attends a variety of different technical training. So it could be very possible that some of our clients attend technical training for clinical medical assistant with our vocational training providers in Sacramento area, but also at the same time, they are taking classes in Los Rios Community College as prerequisites for either vocational nursing or quite possibly a registered nursing program. Once the client is close to the completion of the program, we make sure that clients are supported through professional employment. We, as Jason mentioned, we work with a variety of different organizations, clinics, hospitals in the community that are very happy to hire our clients. So we make sure that all of our clients are supported through that step. I do want to focus a little bit on what specific classes does IRC provide and how we make sure that you are prepared for those job interviews. We make sure that every client has a professional resume developed while they are in the program. Usually those classes take place through Zoom, so it's a very convenient format. We also make sure that our clients are equipped with all of the job searching techniques and networking capabilities. All of our clients go through advanced interview preparation. For some clients, it might just be one class session, but for other clients, we might get together 3-4 times before each interview to make sure that they are prepared. And of course, professional job development cannot happen without a professional cover letter, which all of our clients also have. So those are main classes that we offer. We also offer financial education that our program is funded through a variety of different resources. So we really want to make sure that our clients are do have the right skills and financially secure, have some savings techniques and so forth in order to move forward. And I would like to hand it over to Jason to talk a little bit more about a few other aspects that we support.
Perfect. So next in the process, as Jana laid out so very well, is after going through those trainings, those different advanced work readiness trainings and education, then you'll be ready to place in a job. And this is just an exciting time. It's kind of the end goal. And so we have additional staff and volunteer mentors that really want to help you be successful in this time. These volunteer mentors have specific experience and expertise specifically in the medical field to help you to, whether it's to alter or edit your resume to be more attractive to that specific employer or client group. They also will be able to help you with interview practice and really prepare you for that job placement. We also then as well have a variety of different connections. As we've talked about too, the different employers, we have different partnerships as well in the community to be able to line you up with those employers, to have those interviews, and potentially and hopefully be able to help you place with those connections. And so this is a great time, and it does take some technique and learning. As shown here, there are a variety of different ways to job search, including on Indeed and LinkedIn, platforms that you may be familiar with, but we really dive in and really strategize and learn good techniques on how to search for jobs effectively, and as well as align those with your personal values with those companies, so that when you do place, you're in a role that you feel that good in, and that you can advance, and as well as explore different opportunities as you continue on your career journey. And so we really want to help you be successful, and feel that this is all throughout the whole process is important, and we want to see that be successful for you, and then have it continue in your future as you continue on after our program.
Thank you so much, Jason. Well, it is my greatest pleasure to introduce a wonderful client, a phenomenal female doctor, clinical medical assistant graduate, IRC current mentor, and to be honest, just an inspiration to us all, Shiba Shafak. Shiba, if you can come off mute and share a little bit about your journey, about the milestones of Career Pathways, and how did you come from where you were, the very first step, to where you are right now?
Thank you so much, Yana. That's very nice of you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, now we can.
All right. Thank you so much. Career Pathways, it was such a great journey. When I got introduced to Career Pathways back, it was, I believe, August 2019 when I got my asylum case approval, and I got those stacking of papers with resources with IRC's name on one of them. I was driving from work. I stopped by IRC to just see what's going on and what resources do they have, because up until then I was an asylum seeker, and I didn't use any resources here for the past 3 years that I was living in the US. I walked into IRC and I met Yana, and I explained a little bit about my background, my goals, and how I wanted to work in medical field, but I couldn't work hands-on because I wasn't certified. And the programs to get certified for anything related to medical field, it's very costly. If it's not costly, if you go through community college, it's very long process, particularly for someone who has been through so many years of medical training to go back for a certification and spend 3 years. It's a long process. So I got introduced to Yana, we talked, and she explained about the Career Pathways program and how they have the support for these vocational trainings, clinical medical assistant, nursing assistant, and back then we didn't have the pharmacy technician, I believe. So I in one sitting that day, we went over everything. She said, these are the applications. If you want to apply, I went home that night. I filled out the applications for Careers Pathways program. I sent them back to Yana. She got back to the class was starting for medical assistant in a week or so. And you said, I don't even know if it's possible to get you approved for the scholarship. Because my biggest hurdle at that time was that the medical assistant program costs a lot, and I really wanted to do it to get my hands-on experience, to be able to apply for the programs that I wanted to, which I haven't still gotten, but that's another problem. We made it. I sent my applications and Yana reviewed them. I got approved for the scholarship after I did the interview with Hannah. I think she was the IRC director back then. And then when I went to interview with her, she looked at me and she said, yeah, I think you're the perfect candidate for the scholarship. She approved the scholarship. I got that. So I entered the Career Pathways program, and I exited the Career Pathways programs within 3 or 4 months, because I got to the medical assistant program, and then the program was full time. So I changed my job shift to night shifts, and I was doing full day of schooling for the medical assistant program. I got done within 3 months. I got hired for a job even before taking my certification for medical assistant program. After I got hired, within 6 months of my employment as a medical assistant, it wasn't even 6 months that I was offered to become the supervisor for the mobile medicine. And since you would have to be in the company for 6 months to be able to transition from one position to another, my managers, they were very nice to hold on to the position for another couple of weeks. So I had the 6 months, and then I could transition to the supervisor. And it has been a wonderful journey. In the process, besides the Career Pathways help with the trainings, with the funding, with the scholarship that I got introduced with some amazing people that are volunteers for the Career Pathways, professional mentors. I got introduced to Dr. Kimidi. She has been a huge support throughout this, and she is still working with me in the process of going forward with my PA application to be able to get into a PA program, which I haven't yet, but I'm still working on it. But when I did the medical assistant program, at the same time, I remember mentioning to Yana that I am still taking prerequisite classes through Los Rios to be able to apply for the physician assistant program. But I just realized I have all the classes to apply for associate RN, which never crossed my mind. But thanks to Career Pathways program, again, now that we were talking about the LVN program, I went to research it, and I can see that I can go that route too. And that would be a huge other milestone if I could do that. And this journey, starting from not being able to get hired in medical field because of not having a certification to work hands-on with patients, to getting to IRC, getting the scholarship, getting the support that I needed, the training, the mentorship, the connections, the resources for job placements, and coming back to IRC as a professional mentor to be able to do that for others to come. It has been such a wonderful journey. I can't even explain how much I love IRC. I'm just IRC is like home for me, and I have so many good connections since I started being with IRC, and so are some of our clients. I have been in contact with a few of IRC's Career Pathways farmer clients. I believe they are done with their medical assistant program at this time. They are doctors. They are amazing people. They have years and years of experience in medical field back in their home countries. But when you move to a new country, particularly US, you would have to start from the ground up to make sure you get to the place that you were in your home country 20 years ago. So it has been a wonderful journey. I feel very blessed to be able. I feel blessed, and I feel fortunate to get that paper and just walk into IRC that day, and all this started. So I am here if anyone watching this video, they need assistance, support, particularly if they are Afghani people having language barriers. They can connect to IRC, and then Yana will connect them to me, and we'll go over their options from where to start to apply for the Career Pathways scholarships, and then go through the process of all the steps that I just mentioned to have to bring stability to your work life. And as I have been in this country for almost over 5 years now, it's really hard to have a stability in your career without certifications and the schooling that you need, particularly as an immigrant. So yeah, please contact IRC if you're that person that you think would fit to the program.
Thank you so much, Sheba. I just wanted to say how much we appreciate you, and thank you so much for kind words about IRC and for your desire to continue to support others, because this is critical and this is what we see all the time. So if you are watching this, if you are participating in this presentation, or if you'll watch it some some other time or hear about IRC, we are here to support. We are here to offer services, and we know how difficult it could be and how lost you could be when you just come to a new country, just like Sheba said, and you don't know about the resources, you don't know about some alternative career pathways. So Sheba's journey is just such a wonderful, wonderful example of what is possible. And I also want to say, Sheba, I think you are being very humble. Just wanted to mention that just after 2 weeks, I believe, on the job, Sheba was asked to lead COVID-19 drive-through efforts, which was so spectacular. And I believe what's about 6 months, Sheba was offered to become a supervisor, one of the supervisors in Elica Health. And now we refer all of our potential clients that finish their journey as medical assistants to Sheba, so she's able to interview them and hopefully support them with placement. So I think this is a wonderful time for us to just kind of open it up for questions. Just want to do a brief summary of if you do have a professional goal, if you maybe had a career at home, at your home country, and now not really sure how to transition, if you are able to actually attend the trainings. A lot of the trainings are very flexible. Some of the trainings are offered through Zoom, specifically for clinical medical assistant trainings. Many of them do take place remotely, but also there's a clinical portion that does have to happen on campus. So this is something that we'll discuss in a more in-depth conversation. But if you have any questions, please let us know. I did put our information, Jason's phone number and email, as well as my phone number and email. Please do not hesitate to let us know what questions you have. But Olga, do you feel this is a good time to kind of open up for questions?
Sure.
Awesome. So if you feel comfortable taking yourself off mute, please feel free. We're here.
You can also leave it in the chat if you feel more comfortable writing a note. We'd be happy to respond to the chat. So any way you'd like. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Glad to see you again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. If a person chooses a medical career and in community colleges, at first it's required to finish prerequisites and general education courses, and only after that he or she may apply for the program. And as usual, medical careers are very, very competitive. And in some programs, a person has to wait for a long time, 1, 2, 3, 4 years. So is there any suggestions how to fill this time?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for this question. Maybe I can start, and then Olga, if you feel you would like to add a little bit more specifically about the courses in Los Rios. So we do offer, and I completely understand that it's true, it does take a long time, especially a registered nursing degree or even vocational nursing. Therefore, we offer alternative pathways, which means we do have our clients start with shorter term courses. For example, certified nursing assistant course could take a little over a month. Clinical medical assistant course could take somewhere between 4 to 6 months. It depends on the training provider, the training that is recommended. So many of our clients complete short-term courses and then they become employable. So right after examination and their certification is obtained, we are able to support them through employment. And just like in Shiba's story, she's able to start working to gain those critical patient hours that she will need in her future career. So a client can stay in that role for 6 months or a year or even 2 years, and then give themselves some time to decide which prerequisites need to be taken. Is that a route of LVN that they would like to go to? Or do they want to become a physician assistant? That would be a different route. But because you will be already working in the field, that will give you a chance to just look at the bigger picture. It will give you a chance to decide, give you some time to decide, give you some time to take prerequisites. At the same time you are working, you are making pretty good living and supporting your family. So Olga, do you want to add a little bit more about specific courses, classes that are offered, programs that are offered through Los Rios?
Sure. As Yana mentioned, I like the idea of somebody starting with a position like a certified nursing assistant or another position that less work or less certification is required. So then one example would be the certified nursing assistant program in Los Rios that ARC and Folsom Lake have, which you could be done with it in just 1 semester ARC or in just 8 weeks of Folsom Lake College and get a job and start getting that experience that is needed for a nursing position or any other higher position or program. The other thing with the prerequisites, I would say from the college perspective, continuing to meet with your counselor is really important to make sure you're staying on the track that you need to for the prerequisites. As most of you know, a lot of nursing programs are on the lottery basis. So once all the candidates are at that same level field, then it's a lottery of who actually gets into the program. So sometimes we suggest that, yes, you apply to the programs that are in Los Rios, but also look at somewhere around Sacramento. So something like the Yuba College has a nursing program, or somewhere that's close enough to where you could travel, or if you're willing to travel further and further. And trying to apply to all of those because you never know which one you're going to get into. And then the other thing is there are always these what we call backup majors. So one example would be you want to pursue nursing, but in the meantime, your pursuit of the prerequisites are the same, but you go for a health sciences major. And that way you're opening yourself up to other positions in the medical field while you're waiting to get that nursing program entry. So that's just something that I can suggest, but I would say most important, continue meeting with your counselor and asking the questions of what are what are my plans B, plan C, plan whatever.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you also mentioned about scholarship. I know that there are actually two options: to stay and wait and you are accepted to the program in a community college, or just find a private or commercial school. But the cost is very, very high. As for nursing, I think it's about $25,000-$30,000. For PTA, it's $70,000 or even $90,000. What kind of scholarships do you provide? Do you cover such big expenses?
So I guess IRC can start, Olga, and then I'll shift it over to you as well. So Career Pathways program, we specialize in short-term career trainings, which means we are able to support and fund through a variety of different sources. Just like Sheba mentioned, in her specific case, it was a scholarship. So we are able to fund the training 100% usually. There is a portion of payment that a student also makes, but that is reimbursable usually upon employment. So there are definitely a variety of different opportunities. I do want to make sure that I emphasize that we are able to support only short term. So LVN, for example, or registered nursing does not really fall under this category. So we usually rely on support from Los Rios Community College. And as you mentioned, FAFSA, there are a variety of different options to help you pay for the education that is that lengthy. If, again, we work very closely with Los Rios Community College. So if there are some additional, if you are a part of this program, let's say LVN, and your FAFSA covers a certain portion, then IRC is able to support you through the rest of the fees, for example, parking fee or textbook fees and so forth. Olga, I would like to shift it over to you to talk a little bit more about the tuition.
Sure.
Thank you.
You probably already know the things on the Los Rios side of things. So there's the FAFSA. You fill out the FAFSA and you can be eligible for state or federal grants depending on income and other things. Also, there are institutional scholarships that are available. They're usually pretty small. I guess depends on how you look at it. It's small if when you think about the $30,000 that you have to pay for the entire program, but they are good scholarships. They're available every year, and you can get to them through the financial aid website. And those could be very different. That could be a $200 scholarship, a $1,000 scholarship, depending on all kinds of things. It could be depending on where you come from, could be depending on what your specific major is, classes you've taken, your semester in college, any of the programs that you're part of. So it's always a good idea to continue to apply for those, because it's not a lot of people apply because they think it's too hard to get a scholarship. So then you end up being only 1 or 2 people who apply, and you have a really good chance of getting those scholarships. So that's something that we encourage students to do. And then I know in Los Rios, if you go through the Los Rios programs and let's say you're not eligible for financial aid for the grants, there are loan options. So that's also something that if that's an interest, you can talk with financial aid about.
I hope that
you.
answers. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other questions? I know we had a person yesterday during our presentation who I think had similar experience as Sheba, being a former medical doctor and also trying to transition back into the career field. So I really hope that this presentation was helpful and some of the questions were answered. But please feel free to let us know if there are any other questions.
I have a question from Sheba, but can I speak with her Farsi?
In that, yes,
No?
of course, absolutely.
اوکی شیبا جان ما دکتر بودم بس سرتیفیکیت ما شما میفهمین افسال طب خواندیم. شما برای من مشورت شما چیست؟ از کجا شروع کنم؟
فعلا کار میکنین یا درس میخوانین چیز؟
بله ما دیگه نودمی کالج رفتیم و یک صنف ریگولار انگلیش به خاطر ریکوایرمنت به خاطر امی پروگرام سی گرفتیم. منتو این صنف اولم است.
صنف اولتان است. به نظر من خوبترین آپشن برای شما در امیال است که کت IRC به تماس شو. امی خانم که امیال در IRC از IRC هستن یا نه من در پروگرامی است که میتونن براتان نظر به ای که شما اگر مستحق باشین براتان اسکالرشپ بتن که پروگرام میراکل اسیستانت کنین. بخاطر که در اینجا هر بخشی که در میراکل فیلد بخوای که بخوانی یا ای که بخوای یه سیمیلیت امتحان بده یا ای که بخوای فیزیشن اسیستانت شوی یا ای که بخوای که نرسینگ اسیستانت شوی، هر کدامش که بخوای شوی باید که تجربه کاری در بخش صحی در اینجا داشته باشی و به خاطر از اینکه کت مریض در اینجا در بخش صحی کار کنی ضرورت است که یک سرتیفیکیت داشته باشی و به خاطر که او سرتیفیکیت بگیری میتونی او سرتیفیکیت از طریق لاستریوس کالج بگیری، مثل که امی پیشتر خانم الگا تشریح کردن. میتونی که سرتیفاید نرس اسیستانت شوی که با ایس معاون نرس در اینجا کار میکنن و یا ای که میتونی مدیکال اسیستانت شوی. نظر به تجربه شخصی ما برای خودت چون که دکتر بودی در افغانستان خوب است که مدیکال اسیستانت شوی. مدیکال اسیستانت بسیار کار خوب است، یعنی کار جنجالی نیست. سرکارت کلش امرای مریضا است، امرای دکترها است. میتونی که روابط پیدا کنی، مردم پیدا کنی که باز وقتی که بخوای اگر یا ای که امتحان یو سیمیلیت بتی که دکتر شوی یا ای که بخوای فیزیشن اسیستانت شوی یا ای که بخوای راجستر نرس شوی، باز هر بخشی که تو بخوای ضرورت داری که کسایی باشه که برات ورق نشته کنن که رفرنس بتن که با جای تو برای امو پانتونی که اپلای میکنی برای از و بگوین که چرا و امی خودت قبول کنن، چون اینجا بسیار سخت است شامل شدن در بخش آیسی. خوبترین آپشنت نظر به تجربه شخصی ما و کسایی را که ما کمک کردیم در امی 2 سال هم برای IRC ای است که IRC به تماس شوی، اپلیکیشن هایشان پر کنی که ببینی اگر که میتونی برای پروگرام مدیکال اسیستانت اسکالرشپ برات بتن و باز پروگرام مدیکال اسیستانت بکنی. اما اگر از نگاه لسان باز مشکل داشته باشی میتونی که IRC دمو اسکولی که روانت میکنه اونا صنفای لسان هم دارن. وقتی باز اونجا که میری یک امتحان میگیرن، اسپیشل یک امتحان لسان، میبینن که ضرورت داری که صنف لسان هم شاملت کنن. یعنی اگر که ضرورت داشته باشی صنف لسان هم شاملت کنن، یک ادالت لرنینگ سنتر است، باز خودشان برات صنف لسان هم میتن. اما باز یک ذره طولانی تر میشه، یعنی خود پروگرام نورمالی 4 تا 6 ماه است، اما اگه صنف لسان سرش اد کنن امکان داره تا 8 ماه شود، اما بازم کوتاه‌تر است نسبت به دیگه پروگرام ها. و اگه که برات IRC اسکالرشپ بده بسیار 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 برات ساده میشه.
اسکالرشپ بر کی داده میشه؟ ریکوایرمنتش چیست؟
نظر به عایدت هست که اگر کار میکنی چقدر عاید داشته باشی و مصارف فامیلت چقدر است و امی فرماک پر میشه کلش نشته میشه که من این قدر کار میکنم، این قدر اینکم است، فامیل من قدر است. باز نظر به از او IRC تصمیم میگیره که تو میتونن برات اسکالرشپ بدن یا نمیتونن.
یعنی فقط سر عاید است.
سر عاید است برای شما، به خاطر از اینکه شما سابقه سی دارین، دکتر بودین و سرتیفیکیشن کار دارین که در بخش سی کار کنین که باز از اونجا شروع کنین که باز کلاس های دیگه تانو بگیرین. اگه میخواین کلوین شوین، اگه میخواین کارن شوین، خوبیشی است که یک دفعه شامل پروگرام کریر پاتوی شدی باز اونجا همیشه کسایی هست که والنتیر میکنن که منتور میکنن شما را که براتون میگن که چی کو چی نکو. یعنی بسیار یک ریسورس می داشته باشی که برات راه را آسان تر میسازه تا اینکه خودت پیدا کنی راه را.
فهمیدم. بسیار تشکر. اگه کدام سوالی داشته باشم چطور برایش تماس شوم؟
من میتونم ایمیل ما برای شما بدم. من در چت براتون نشتهش میکنم. میتونی که برای ما ایمیل کنی.
درست است، تشکر.
نام شما را نگرفتم. اسم شما؟
شما همینجا مثلا در اسکرین ما ببینین بیضا.
اوکی. ما براتون ایمیل ما در چت نشته کردم. میشه که برای ما ایمیل کنین، باز ما سرش گپ میزنیم.
درست است، تشکر.
Sorry everyone, I put my email to everyone. I meant to send it to her.
Don't be sorry, Shiba. Thank you so much. And Tashakor to, is that, I'm so sorry. What is the name of the client? Is it Baiza? I hope I pronounce it correctly.
Yes, it's Baiza.
Yes. Baiza, you know, this is really one of my favorite aspects of this job, that we are able to provide some bilingual services. And I think, Olga, yesterday we just shifted to Russian for a little bit. Today is Dari Pashto. This is wonderful. So, you know, just to follow up on this, Shiba, thank you so much for sharing more in-depth information and sharing your contact information as well. But Baiza, also, please keep in mind, you can always contact us directly and we can provide you all of the in-depth information that you need if you have any questions or need some guidance. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, and Baiza, you see, Baiza میبینه ایمیل یانا از زیر صفحه کمیال در اسکرین معلوم میشه. ایمیل یانا در اونجا است. اگه برای یانا ایمیل کنی، خود یانا برات فرماویا رو روان میکنه که برای پروگرام مدیکال اسیستنت اپلای کنی. باز اگه که فرمایش کمک داشته باشی، باز یانا برای ما به تماس میشه، من امرایت کمک میکنم.
درست است. بسیار تشکر.
قبلش نیست. All right. She's gonna email you. She's a former medical doctor from Afghanistan. She's interested in being a client for Career Pathways to start with medical assistant.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. So absolutely, if there are any other questions, would be more than happy to answer those. Olga, is it okay also if some of the students email you the questions?
Sure. Yeah, let me put the email in the chat. So if any of you have questions about the program or maybe connecting with Yana, or if you have any help that you need in Los Rios, anything like, I don't know, I can't schedule a counseling appointment, or I'm trying to get a hold of my professor, anything that's related to your classes in Los Rios, then you can email this email that I'm going to put in the chat, and we'll try to get you the help you need.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending. And thank you, Olga, for organizing this wonderful presentation. And, you know, I'm hoping that we'll be able to connect with Baiza afterwards. And Shiba, thank you so much for your time. We always appreciate you. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. It was
Thank
so
you,
nice
everyone.
seeing
Thank you very
everyone.
much. And I maybe have one very short question,
Yeah, absolutely.
if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Okay. As I see, you are full-time working and also study and do some mentoring and many other things. So what about your family? Do you find the time for the family, and how do you find that balance? Children studying, working, family, and many other things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shiba. Please share with us your secret.
Okay. First of all, it helps that I don't have my family here, so it's just me. I do have my relatives around in the area and cities close by, but I moved to the US all by myself. My family is still in Afghanistan, although it's now even harder having them in Afghanistan than having them here, but that helps that I don't have my family, so I'm responsible only for myself and my schooling and work. And I think it might be harder with having a family, but at the same time, it could be a huge plus point. If you have your family, you have your support system. And when you're going through the system to get established here in America, I think it would make make it easier mentally on individuals to have their support system. Although the family is a factor that if you have a family, you have to work more, you have to have time to spend with the family. But at the same time, when you it's 50-50. Having them is good for your mental health, but not having them is also good for having the time to just focus on yourself and your career. But to be honest, we came here as refugees in a new country. It will take us a few years of hardship to get to the place that we want to. It's not easy. I don't want to sugarcoat it. It will never be easy. I have had nights that when I did the program for medical assistant, I had to work because perks of not like downside of not having family. If I would have had my family in here, I wouldn't have to work. They might have supported me and I would have just done the program, but I was working night shift to be able to do full-time my schooling during the day. But if someone has a family and they would have to provide for the whole family in here too, and then they're schooling. So that's a totally different scenario. I do think it's hard, no matter which way you have it, either having your family or not, and it's not going to be easy, but it's so worth it in the end. And it will take a few years, and I know people, I have friends who have been through the process, who have been through hardships, challenges, juggling between work, family, social life, which we mostly don't get until we are done with our career here in the US. But that's totally okay. And I would say if it gets hard, just give yourself a break, a weekend to the woods. That's what it helps me. I just sit in my car and I drive for 2 hours and then refresh my brain and then come back and do it all over again. Because if you are not persistent with your career in the US to rebuild what you have lost leaving your country, it's not going to be possible. So just I personally trained my brain as it's not going to be easy, but I have to do it anyways, and it's going to be worth it in the end. But it could be different from every individual.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Sheba. I just want to acknowledge that, I really appreciate you sharing that. A lot of our clients do have very similar journey. Vyacheslav, we like to say at IRC that we believe that all of our clients are naturally resourceful, creative, and whole, which means you have everything you need within you. You know what goals you have, you know what dreams you have, you know what it is, you know the reason why you immigrated to the United States, and you might not have known all of the difficulties and the obstacles of the journey, but you did have a general dream or general idea. So as Sheba mentioned, support system is critical. At IRC, we are able to provide that support, but also community support. We always encourage our clients to reach out, to build their network of immigrants and, just support one another. So again, Sheba, I really appreciate you sharing. This is very important. Thank you so much, everybody.